Admiral Daniel Carter stood tall on the bridge of the USS Defiant, his weathered face lit by the blue glow of the main screen. The message from the alien ship played again. The translation software worked perfectly, turning the strange clicking sounds into clear English. "People of Earth," the alien voice said, "this is Fleet Master Vorzik of the Zelnar Imperium. Your planet is now under our control. Your ships are few. Your weapons are weak. Surrender now, or face destruction. You have 12 hours to decide." Carter ran a hand through his gray hair and looked around at his crew. 20 years in space had prepared him for many things, but first contact with aliens wasn't one of them. Especially not aliens who arrived with weapons ready. "Replay the visual part again," he ordered. Lieutenant Emma Wright tapped her console. The image of the alien commander appeared again. The Zelnar looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a lobster. Its green exoskeleton gleamed under the lights of its ship. 4 arms moved in quick, jerky motions as it spoke. "Look at the background," Carter said. "Enhance Sector 3. The computer zoomed in on a part of the image behind, the alien commander. It showed a large window with a view of space outside. Hundreds, maybe thousands of ships filled the darkness. "They're not bluffing about their numbers," Carter said quietly. Emma worked at her station. "Sir, I'm picking up their communications. They're laughing at us. Their officers are making jokes about the size of our fleet." The admiral's face hardened. "Let them laugh." Outside, beyond the solar system's edge, the Zelnar Armada stretched for thousands of miles. Earth had only 30 warships to defend itself. 30 ships against thousands. "Sir," said Communications Officer Jake Winters, "we're getting calls from Earth. The President, the UN Secretary, and military commands from all major nations." "Tell them I'll respond soon," Carter said. "First, show me our fleet positions." A holographic display appeared in the center of the bridge. 30 blue dots represented Earth's ships, arranged in a defensive pattern around the planet. Far away, at the edge of the display, a massive red cloud showed the alien fleet. Carter studied the display. "Officer Winters, connect me to the other ship captains, priority channel." 5 faces appeared on the screen. The commanders of Earth's other main warships looked tense but determined. "You've all seen the alien message," Carter said. "And you know what we planned for this day." Captain Lisa Reeves of the USS Liberty spoke first. "Is it time for Operation Hydra?" Carter nodded. "I believe it is. But I need your agreement. This isn't my decision alone." Captain Paul Garcia of the USS Horizon frowned. "We don't know if their technology is compatible with our plan. It's a big risk." "Everything we've seen so far matches our predictions," Carter replied. "Their ship designs, their weapon signatures, even their communication methods. The science. Team believes our approach will work." The 5 captains looked at each other through their screens. One by one they nodded. "Good," Carter said. "Return to your ships and prepare your crews. I'll handle the first response." The screen went dark. Carter turned to Emma. "Lieutenant, open a channel to the alien flagship." "Channel open, sir." Carter straightened his uniform and faced the screen. "This is Admiral Daniel Carter of the United Earth Defense Force. We receive your message, Fleet Master Vorzik." The alien appeared on screen again, its mandibles clicking. "Have you come to surrender? Human?" "No," Carter said simply. "I've come to inform you that you misunderstand the situation." The alien's head tilted sideways. "Explain." "You see only what we allow you to see," Carter said. "Judge us not by the number of our ships, but by what those ships can do." The alien made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. "Your bravery is amusing but foolish. Our sensors have scanned your vessels. We know their capabilities." "Do you?" Carter asked. "I suggest you scan again, more carefully this time." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Your attempts to create doubt will not work. You have 11 hours remaining to surrender." The screen went black. Emma looked at Carter with concern. "They're not taking the bait, sir." "They will," Carter said. "Their type always does. Pride before reason." He turned to the navigator. "Mr. Patel, Position our fleet in formation Alpha. Let's give them something to think about. As orders went out, the 30 Earth ships began to move into a new arrangement. To alien observers, it might look like Earth was trying to create a stronger defensive line, but there was another purpose to this movement. Carter left the bridge and headed to his private quarters. There, he activated a secure terminal that connected directly to Earth. The face of General Maria Lopez appeared on the screen. "Admiral," she said, "I've been briefed on the situation. How bad is it?" "Exactly as we expected," Carter replied. "The Zelnar have arrived with overwhelming force. They're demanding surrender, and they're completely underestimating us." Lopez nodded. "Is it time to activate the protocols?" "Yes, I've already gotten approval from the other captains. We're moving to Phase 1 now." "Understood. I'll inform the President and activate the ground systems." Lopez paused. "Daniel, are you sure this will work? We're betting everything on this plan." Carter's expression was grim but determined. "It has to work, Maria. We've spent 20 years preparing for this moment, ever since we intercepted their first signals and learned about their empire. If we fail—" "I know," she said. "Earth falls, like all the other worlds they've conquered." "Not just Earth," Carter said. "If they get our technology, they'll be unstoppable. The entire galaxy will fall under their control." Lopez nodded. "Then we won't fail. I'll contact the underground facilities and begin the countdown. Good luck, Admiral." "We're going to need it," Carter said as the screen went dark. He returned to the bridge just as Officer Winters called out, "Sir, the aliens are broadcasting again." The main screen lit up with the image of Fleet Master Vorzik. This time, a second alien stood beside him. "Admiral Carter," Vorzik said, "my science officer has analyzed your fleet movements. He finds them puzzling." The second alien spoke. "Your defensive formation is inefficient. It suggests either poor tactical understanding or some hidden purpose." Carter kept his face neutral. "We have our reasons." "No matter," Vorzik said. "It changes nothing. We have studied your species for some time." "We know your limitations, do you?" Carter asked. "We do," the alien said confidently. "Your technology is impressive for such a young species, but you lack the resources and experience to stand against us. Your 30 ships cannot hope to defeat our armada." Carter allowed himself a small smile. 30 ships is all we need." The aliens exchanged looks that suggested confusion, even through their alien features. "You speak in riddles, human," Vorzik said. "Not riddles. Truths you're not ready to understand." Carter leaned forward. "We'll speak again when you are." He signaled for the transmission to end. Emma looked at him nervously. "They're going to be angry." "Good," Carter said. "Angry enemies make mistakes." He addressed the entire bridge crew. "Everyone, listen carefully. The next few hours will determine the fate of our world. Each of you knows your role in operations. Hydra, now is the time to perform those roles perfectly." He walked to the center of the bridge and pulled up the holographic display again. "The Zelnar think they see everything," he said, pointing to the small blue dots representing Earth's fleet. "But they have no idea what they're really looking at, and by the time they figure it out—" He clenched his fist. "It will be too late." Fleet Master Vorzik stood on the command deck of his massive flagship, the Dominion. His forearms were folded behind his back as he watched the main display. The tiny dots representing Earth's ships moved slowly into their new formation. "Pathetic," he said, mandibles clicking together in amusement. Sub-Commander Thrax approached and gave the formal Zelnar salute, right upper arm crossed over chest. "Fleet Master, our scout ships have completed their detailed scans of the human vessels," Thrax reported. "Would you like to review the findings?" "Later," Vorzik said, waving one of his lower arms dismissively. "There is little to learn from such primitive craft." The bridge of the Dominion was huge, filled with at least 50 Zelnar officers working at various stations. All of them had the same green exoskeletons and multiple limbs, though their sizes varied based on their rank and role. "These humans," Vorzik continued, "they achieved faster than light travel only to build 30 warships. Their entire planet Has fewer ships than a single Zelnar battle group. Thrax clicked his mandibles in agreement. They must have devoted their resources to other technologies. Perhaps they thought they were alone in the galaxy. A costly mistake, Vorzik said. He turned to face his second-in-command. What did you make of the human admiral's response? This Carter creature? Thrax's antennae twitched in thought. Puzzling. They claim we misunderstand the situation. It seems like the typical delusion of a prey species facing a superior predator. Yes, Vorzik agreed, though there was something in his manner, a confidence that seems misplaced. A bluff, Thrax suggested. They hope to make us hesitate. Vorzik nodded slowly. Perhaps. Still, have the science division analyze their ships again. Look for anything unusual, any hidden weapons or shielding we might have missed. It will be done, Fleet Master. As Thrax moved away to carry out the order, Vorzik returned his attention to the display. The human ships had completed their new formation. It was a strange pattern that made little tactical sense to Zelnar military doctrine. What are you planning, Admiral Carter? Vorzik wondered. Aloud. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Dr. Allison Parker ran through crowded corridors. The underground facility was a maze of steel and concrete, built 2 decades ago when humanity first detected alien signals from deep space. Scientists, military personnel, and technicians rushed in all directions. Red emergency lights flashed along the walls not because of any malfunction, but to signal that Operation Hydra was now active. Allison finally reached the main command center. The room was massive, with rows of computer stations and a giant screen on the front wall showing Earth, the 30 defense ships, and the distant alien fleet. General Frank Murphy stood in the center of the room, barking orders. He was a tall man with a shaved head and a face that rarely showed emotion. When he saw Allison, he motioned for her to approach. Dr. Parker, status report, he demanded. Allison caught her breath. All 30 Ares protocols are activated and running. The quantum entanglement links are established and stable. All fleet captains have initiated the synchronized countdowns. Murphy nodded, his face still expressionless. And the fleet's transponder modifications? Complete, Allison confirmed. When they activate fully, the Zelnar sensors will see exactly what we want them to see, and nothing more. A young technician approached them, holding a tablet. General, Dr. Parker, we're receiving the final activation codes from all ships. Everyone is in position. Murphy took the tablet and checked the information. Good. Start the final countdown. Alert all world leaders that we're proceeding with Phase 2. The technician hurried away. Murphy turned back to Allison, and for the first time his stern expression softened slightly. 20 years of work, he said quietly. 20 years since you first intercepted those alien signals and decoded their language. 20 years of preparing for this moment. Allison nodded. Sometimes I still can't believe we pulled it off. Building all this in secret. Developing the technology. It was your idea, Murphy reminded her. Your theory about how to counter an overwhelming force. A theory we're about to test against real aliens, she said, her voice tight with nervous energy. The general placed a hand on her shoulder. Have faith in your work, Doctor. If anyone can save Earth, it's you. In space, the USS Defiant moved into its final position. Inside his private cabin, Admiral Carter reviewed the plan one more time. The room was small and practical. A bed, a desk, and a few personal items. On his desk sat a photo of his family, his wife, son, and daughter all smiling in front of their home in Colorado. Carter touched the photo gently. Everything for you, he whispered. He turned to his computer and pulled up the classified files that only 6 people on Earth had full access to. The screen showed detailed diagrams of the 30 Earth ships, including the Defiant. But these weren't ordinary technical drawings. They showed something much more complex. Humanity had prepared for this moment since discovering the alien communications decades ago. They had intercepted enough of the Zelnar signals to learn about their empire, their technology, and their conquest of other worlds. Earth couldn't match the aliens ship for ship. They didn't have the resources or time to build thousands of warships. So they had built their strategy around a single question. Why build thousands of ships when 30 would suffice? The answer was elegant and terrifying. Each of Earth's 30 vessels wasn't merely a ship. They were something else entirely. Carter's computer beeped. A message from Earth. Phase 2 authorized. Commence when ready. He closed the files and left his cabin. As he walked through the corridors of the Defiant, crew members snapped to attention. All of them knew what was coming. All of them had trained for years for this moment. Carter reached the bridge and took his seat in the command chair. Status report, he ordered. All systems nominal, sir, Emma Wright replied from her station. Quantum links are stable. Ares protocol is ready. And the other ships? All reporting ready, Admiral. They await your command. Carter nodded and looked at the main screen. It showed the massive alien fleet hanging in space like a swarm of deadly insects. Thousands of ships against Earth's 30. They think they understand what they're seeing, Carter said quietly. They see 30 ships and assume they know our capabilities. Jake Winters spoke up from his station. Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the alien flagship. On screen, Carter ordered. Fleet Master Vorzik appeared again. His alien features were hard to read, but his voice carried clear arrogance. Human Admiral, he said, our analysis of your fleet placement is complete. We find your strategy lacking. Perhaps you would like to reconsider your refusal to surrender. You have 10 hours remaining. Carter leaned forward in his chair. Fleet Master, I ask you again to reconsider your actions. You do not understand what you are facing. The alien made that strange laughing sound again. Your confidence is misplaced. Our science division has thoroughly analyzed your vessels. We know their capabilities. We know their weaknesses. No, Carter said firmly. You've only seen their disguise. This seemed to give the alien pause. Explain. Carter smiled. You will see soon enough. He signaled for the transmission to end. Emma turned in her seat. Sir, do you think that was wise? Warning them? It doesn't matter, Carter replied. They won't believe us until they see it. And by then, it will be too late. He stood and addressed the entire bridge crew. The time has come, he announced. Signal all ships, begin final preparations for Ares protocol activation. When the countdown reaches 0, we show the Zelnar who they're really dealing with. As the orders went out, Carter returned to his chair and gazed at the stars visible through the bridge viewport. 20 years of deception, he thought. 20 years of hiding our true strength. Now we find out if it was worth it. The 12-hour deadline was almost up. Only 30 minutes remained before the Zelnar would attack Earth. On the bridge of the Dominion, Fleet Master Vorzik prepared to make an example of the human world that would echo across the galaxy. Battle. Stations, he ordered. His voice carried across the massive bridge. Hundreds of Zelnar officers rushed to their positions. Weapons systems at full power, reported the weapons officer. All ships in the fleet report ready. Vorzik nodded in satisfaction. He had conquered 12 worlds before Earth. None had resisted for long once they saw the size of his fleet. These humans would be no different. Fleet Master, called the sensor officer suddenly. The human fleet is moving. Vorzik turned to the main display. The 30 human ships were changing positions again. This time, they were spreading out, moving, away from Earth and from each other. What are they doing? Vorzik wondered aloud. Sub-Commander Thrax studied the tactical display. It appears they are spreading out to face different parts of our fleet. Perhaps they hope to protect different sides of their world with individual ships. Vorzik's mandibles clicked in amusement. Pathetic. One ship against hundreds? Their plan makes no sense. Perhaps they intend to flee, suggested Thrax. Scatter in different directions? No, Vorzik said. Their movements are too coordinated. They have some plan. He turned to his communications officer. Open a channel to their admiral. Let's see what he has to say before we destroy his world. Aboard the USS Defiant, Admiral Carter stood calmly as the final minutes ticked away. His crew worked at their stations with focused precision. No one spoke unnecessarily. They all knew what was coming. Sir, Lieutenant Emma Wright said, The alien flagship is hailing us. On screen, Carter ordered. Fleet Master Vorzik's alien face appeared. Human Admiral, your time is almost up. Your ships are moving to new positions. Explain this final strategy before you meet your end. Carter smiled slightly. This is no final strategy, Fleet Master. This is just the beginning. The alien's eye stalks twitched in what might have been confusion. Your confidence continues to puzzle me. Look around you, human. You are outnumbered. Your ships are outgunned. Yet you act as if victory is assured. That's because it is, Carter replied. He glanced at his watch. In exactly 5 minutes, you'll understand why. The alien commander made a harsh clicking sound. Enough games, your time is up. Surrender now or... Fleet Master, Carter interrupted. One last chance. Take your fleet and leave our system. This is not a battle you can win. Vorzik's mandibles spread wide in what the humans had learned was a gesture of extreme anger. You dare to threaten the Zelnar Imperium? Your arrogance will be your downfall. The screen went black as the alien cut the transmission. Carter turned to his crew. They've made their choice. Begin the final countdown for Ares protocol activation. Emma nodded and entered commands into her console. Ares protocol countdown initiated, sir. 5 minutes to activation. Carter opened a channel to all Earth ships. All vessels, this is Admiral Carter. The countdown has begun. In 5 minutes, we reveal our true nature to the enemy. Prepare for possible immediate battle following transformation. Good luck to you, all. He closed the channel and took his seat in the command chair. The bridge was silent except for the soft beeping of the countdown. Sir, Jake Winters said from his communication station. I'm picking up transmissions from the alien fleet. They're moving into attack formation. Weapons systems are charging. As expected, Carter replied. Hold position. Continue countdown. Oidekwa. The Zelnar command ship. Vorzik watched as his massive fleet moved into attack position. Thousands of warships arranged themselves in the standard Zelnar battle formation, a massive curved wall designed to surround and crush the enemy. Weapons charged, reported the weapons officer. All ships await your command to fire. Excellent, Vorzik said. He was about to give the order when the sensor officer called out. Fleet Master, I'm detecting strange energy readings from the human vessels. Vorzik turned quickly. What kind of readings? Unknown, sir. The officer's antennae twitched nervously. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our database. The readings are increasing rapidly. Thrax moved to the sensor station and studied the readings. These energy levels, they're impossible for vessels that size. Enhance visual on the human ships, Vorzik ordered. The main screen showed a close-up view of the nearest human vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed unusual. Then suddenly the ship began to glow with a strange blue light. What is happening? Vorzik demanded. No one had an answer. In the underground facility on Earth, Dr. Allison Parker and General Murphy watched the countdown on the main screen. 30 seconds to Ares protocol activation, announced a technician. Allison felt her heart racing. 20 years of work, of secret development, of preparing for this moment. It all came down to the next few seconds. Energy levels stable across all 30 vessels, reported another technician. Quantum entanglement holding at 100%. 20 seconds, called the first technician. Murphy glanced at Allison. This will work, he said. It wasn't a question. She nodded. It has to. 10 seconds. 9, 8. Everyone in the command center fell silent, watching the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Activation. Aboard the USS Defiant, Admiral Carter gave the final order. Activate Ares protocol. Lieutenant Emma Wright entered the final command sequence. Ares protocol activated. Across all vessels, sir. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Carter felt a slight vibration through the floor of the bridge. It started small but quickly grew stronger. All stations report, he ordered. Energy levels rising, sir, Emma replied. Quantum field stable. Transformation sequence beginning. Phew. Vibration increased. Outside the ship, the blue glow grew brighter. Structural integrity at 100%, reported the engineering officer. All systems functioning within parameters. Carter nodded. Begin Phase 1 transformation. Across 30 points in space surrounding Earth, something unprecedented happened. The human ships began to transform. On the Zelnar command vessel, alarms blared. "Supreme Commander," shouted the panicked sensor officer. "The human vessels, they're changing." Vorzik rushed to the main viewport and stared in disbelief. The nearest human ship was no longer the same. Its hull was shifting, sections moving, expanding outward like a flower blooming in space. "Impossible," he whispered. Each of Earth's 30 warships began to unfold. Hidden sections emerged from what seemed like nowhere. Panels slid away, revealing massive weapon arrays and engine systems that should not have fit inside the original vessels. Through advanced spatial manipulation, technology, humanity's greatest scientific achievement, each vessel expanded to over 20 times its original volume. "New readings," the Zelnar officer cried. "Each human vessel is growing. The smallest is now the size of a Zelnar dreadnought." But that wasn't all. As the expansion continued, new structures appeared. From what seemed like dimensional pockets housed inside each ship, additional vessels began to emerge. "More ships," shouted the sensor officer, his voice rising in panic. "They're spawning additional ships." From each of the original 30 vessels, 5 fully armed destroyer-class vessels emerged. 150 additional warships materialized alongside the now massive original 30. And still, the transformation continued. In the Earth Command Center, Dr. Allison Parker watched the telemetry with a mixture of awe and relief. "All motherships have completed primary transformation," she announced. "All destroyer escorts successfully deployed. Phase 1 complete." General Murphy nodded. "Begin Phase 2." Allison entered the commands. Phase 2 initiated. On the main screen, they could see the Earth fleet's true form taking shape. The original 30 ships had transformed into massive battle stations, each surrounded by 5 destroyer escorts. But now bay doors on both the motherships and destroyers were opening. "Fighter deployment beginning," Allison reported. Energy readings stable across all vessels. The true nature of humanity's defense strategy became clear. They hadn't built a small fleet out of weakness. They had compressed their armada into 30 vessels to hide their true capabilities. From within the transformed vessels, swarms of fighter craft began to pour forth, hundreds from each ship. The space around Earth suddenly teemed with a fighting force that rivaled the Zelnar's own. "Fighter deployment complete," Allison said. "Phase 2 successful. Total fleet count, 30 capital ships, 150 destroyers, and 1,800 fighters." Murphy allowed himself a small smile, the first one Allison had seen in months. "Signal Admiral Carter," he ordered. "Tell him Earth stands. Ready. Operation Hydra is fully operational." On the main screen, the tiny blue dots representing Earth's original fleet had transformed into a massive defensive network that surrounded the planet like a shield of steel and fire. The human fleet had revealed its true nature. The deception was over. Now the real battle would begin. Fleetmaster Vorzik could not believe what he was seeing. The bridge of the Dominion had fallen completely silent. Every Zelnar officer stared at the main screen in shock. Where there had been only 30 small human ships moments ago, now there was a massive battle fleet. The transformed motherships were each nearly the size of Vorzik's flagship. The destroyer escorts and swarms of fighters filled the space around Earth like an impenetrable shield. "Impossible," Vorzik finally managed to say, his voice shaking, with rage and disbelief. "How did they hide such a force?" Subcommander Thrax stared at the sensor readings, his forearms trembling. "The energy signatures, and they used some kind of spatial compression technology. They folded space inside their ships to hide their true size and numbers." "Can our weapons penetrate their defenses?" Vorzik demanded. The weapons officer frantically analyzed the data. "Unknown, Fleetmaster. Their shield configurations are unlike anything we've encountered before." Vorzik slammed his lower fist onto a nearby console. It doesn't matter. We still outnumber them. All ships, attack formation. Target their largest vessels first. The Zelnar fleet began to move, thousands of ships adjusting their positions to face this unexpected threat. Sir, the communications officer called. The human admiral is hailing us. Ignore it, Vorzik snapped. But after a moment, he reconsidered. No, wait. Put him on screen. I want to see his face as we destroy his trickery. The screen lit up with the image of Admiral Carter, standing calmly on the bridge of his transformed ship. Fleetmaster Vorzik, Carter said, as you can now see, we were telling the truth. You did misunderstand the situation. Vorzik's eye stalks quivered with fury. Your deception changes nothing, human. We still have the numbers to crush your fleet. Numbers aren't everything, Carter replied. You should know that better than most. How many civilizations have you conquered because they couldn't match your fleet size? We found a different solution. Enough talk, Vorzik shouted. Your cheap tricks won't save you. Carter's expression hardened. This is your final warning. Leave our system now, or face the consequences. Vorzik cut the transmission and turned to his officers. All ships open fire. Target their command vessels. On the bridge of what was once the USS Defiant, now fully transformed into the massive dreadnought it truly was, Admiral Carter gave his final order. They've made their choice, he said calmly. All ships, execute coordinated attack pattern. Omega, target their command vessels first. Lieutenant Emma Wright relayed the orders. All vessels acknowledged, sir. Attack pattern Omega initiated. The human fleet moved with a precision that spoke of years of training. The motherships held position in a defensive sphere around Earth, while the destroyer escorts and fighters formed attack groups that surged forward to meet the oncoming Zelnar fleet. Unlike the Zelnar, who relied on overwhelming numbers and brute force, the humans had spent years practicing how to fight as an outnumbered force. Every movement was calculated, every formation designed to maximize their effectiveness against a larger enemy. The two fleets clashed in a storm of energy weapons and missiles. The space between Earth and the Moon lit up with explosions and weapons fire. First reports coming in, sir, Emma said, monitoring the battle communications. The Zelnar ships are having trouble targeting our vessels. Our adaptive shield frequencies are working just as designed. Carter nodded, watching the tactical display as the battle unfolded. What about our weapons effectiveness? Better than expected, sir, reported the weapons officer. The phase shift torpedoes are bypassing their shields completely. Direct hits on 17 Zelnar command ships already. The human ships moved like dancers through the Zelnar formations, their advanced maneuverability allowing them to avoid the worst of the alien firepower while delivering precision strikes against key targets. Sir, Emma said suddenly, all wings reporting successful engagements. The Zelnar formations are breaking. In the underground command center on Earth, General. Murphy and Dr. Parker watched the battle unfold. The main screen showed a tactical overview of the engagement, with blue markers for human ships and red for the Zelnar. Already dozens of red markers were disappearing as the Zelnar ships were destroyed. It's working, Allison whispered, almost afraid to believe it. Our fleet is actually winning. Murphy nodded, his face still serious. The question is, will the Zelnar realize they're outmatched before too many lives are lost on both sides? A young officer approached them. General, Dr. Parker, the Zelnar appear to be adjusting their tactics. They're pulling back their smaller vessels and concentrating fire with their larger ships. Admiral Carter will adjust accordingly, Murphy said confidently. Our battle computers have run simulations against every possible Zelnar tactic. Allison frowned as she studied the display. Should we inform the Zelnar about the rest of our capabilities? It might convince them to surrender. Murphy shook his head. Not yet. Let them find out on their own. Sometimes a demonstration is more convincing than words. The rest that Allison referred to became apparent within minutes. As the battle continued, the human vessels demonstrated technologies the Zelnar had never encountered. When 3 Zelnar cruisers concentrated their fire on a human destroyer, its shields seemed to absorb the energy rather than simply blocking it. Then the destroyer fired back using the very energy it had just absorbed, destroying one of the cruisers instantly. When a group of Zelnar fighters managed to get close to one of the motherships, they suddenly found their weapons and engines failing as they entered a field of disruption energy surrounding the human vessel. The human targeting systems showed uncanny accuracy, hitting vital systems on Zelnar ships with their first shots. Their weapons could bypass Zelnar shields by shifting partially out of normal spacetime, a technology the aliens had never even conceived of. On the bridge of the Dominion, chaos reigned. Consoles exploded as the ship took another direct hit. Emergency sirens wailed and the lights flickered. "Fleetmaster," shouted the sensor officer. "We've lost 20% of our fleet already. Their weapons, they're cutting through our shields like they aren't even there." Vorzik could hardly process what was happening. In all his years of conquest, he had never faced a defeat. The Zelnar Imperium was unbeatable, its fleets unstoppable. Yet here they were, being systematically taken apart by a force they had mocked just hours ago. "How?" he demanded, grabbing Thrax by the shoulder. "How did they develop such technology?" Thrax's mandibles quivered. "Fleetmaster, I believe. I believe they've been preparing for this specifically for us." The realization hit Vorzik like a physical blow. They knew about us before we arrived. They intercepted our communications. They studied our tactics, our technology, and they built their fleet specifically to counter ours. Thrax finished. Another explosion rocked the ship. The tactical display showed Zelnar vessels falling back in disarray as the human fleet pressed their advantage. "Fleetmaster," the communications officer called. "Multiple ship captains are requesting permission to retreat." Vorzik's pride warred with his survival instinct. The Zelnar never retreated. But they had never faced anything like this before. "Signal the retreat," he finally ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. "All ships fall back to the jump point." But as the order went out, Vorzik realized something else. The human fleet had been maneuvering not just to attack, but to cut off their escape routes. Admiral Carter had anticipated this too. From the USS Defiant, Carter watched as the Zelnar fleet began to attempt a retreat. He opened a channel to the alien commander. "Fleetmaster Vorzik," he said when the alien's face appeared on screen. "Your retreat path is blocked. Your ships are being destroyed. This can end now, without further bloodshed." Vorzik's alien features contorted with rage. "You planned this. All along. You knew we were coming." "We intercepted your communications years ago," Carter confirmed. "We learned about the Zelnar Imperium, about the worlds you conquered. We knew our day would come, so we prepared." The alien commander seemed to deflate as the reality of his situation sank in. "You mocked our tiny fleet," Carter continued. "You didn't understand what you were seeing. This wasn't our weakness, it was our greatest strength. Our ability to hide our true power until the moment it was needed." He leaned forward. "Now you have a choice: unconditional surrender, or learn why we named our flagship vessels after ancient gods of war." As the human fleet closed in, the Zelnar Imperium faced an unthinkable reality. They had traveled across the stars to conquer what they perceived as an easy target, only to find themselves trapped by a civilization that had turned technological innovation into an art form. The doom they had brought to countless worlds had finally found them instead. 2 hours later, Admiral Carter stood on his bridge, watching as the remaining Zelnar ships powered down their weapons systems in surrender. Of the thousands of ships that had arrived to conquer Earth, fewer than 500 remained. "Send word to Earth," Carter told Emma. "Operation Hydra is a success. The deception worked." As the message transmitted home, Carter moved to the viewport and gazed out at the stars. The galaxy would soon learn what the Zelnar now knew. Humanity might be young among the stars, but they were far from weak. Underestimating humans was a mistake no alien empire would make again. The end.